素敵な星空。マーティをテレビにつなぎたまえ。めくるめくスリルがほら君のものさ。
CD の数だけ番組。
The FM Towns Marty was a 5th generation home console released in 1993 by Fujitsu and was exclusive to the Japanese market. At the heart of the system was an AMD 386 SX processor clocked at 16 MHz. Start by taking a look at the joypad on the system. Really nice design, quite nice in my hand, a little bit small, usually because the Japanese market controllers do tend to be a little bit smaller. So we'll look at the main features of the system. Again, released in 1993, sold for about $710, which was about £900. 386 based, 45,000 units sold, comes with a 3.5-inch floppy drive and a PCM-CIA slot. That's the slot there, and the floppy drive above it, input there for a keyboard, power switch on the side. On the back we've got the 100 volts mains input, S-video and composite with a smoothing feature button. Nothing on that side. On the front we've got 2 controller ports and 2 headphone jacks. On the top we've got various LEDs, CD access time and power on, a reset switch and the button for ejecting the CD drive. This is why we're here today. I'm going to be fitting the Doc Brown version 2. This is an ODE replacement for the FM Towns. Been after one of these for a very long time and one came up, so I decided to take the plunge. So first things first, get my mucky rag out and we'll take the back off this unit. 5 screws to be taken, normal Phillips head, nothing particularly special here. Quite easy to take off, there's no ribbons or cables in the way, so get straight into it, just removing the 5 Phillips screws from the bottom. Plastics are fairly robust on this, so it can be a little bit rougher than normal. It's actually quite well made and quite heavy. That's the 5th screw that everybody seems to miss. So we'll pop the lid off. Well designed and laid out. Straight away you can see the CD drive. No screws holding that in, it's only held in by pegs. This is the main power, the converter board that converts the mains into the system voltages. There's the floppy drive and the ribbon cable at the back. This interested me. There seem to be some wires underneath the ODE, where the ODE is going to go. I take this CD drive interface board off and the drive, and you'll see a little bit closer underneath. There's some really weird wires that I really wanted to get into, so we do strip this a little bit further. There's one wire you have to take off, which is an earth strap wire, which you need to disconnect before you can remove the CD tray. We'll set that to one side. There's them bodge wires. That doesn't look standard to me. Well, I didn't think it did. So I set about taking the screws out, get that big, huge, great steel frame out. So we'll speed that up and get that out of the way. I was quite impressed with this. It's quite logically laid out. I'd say it feels more PC based than a games console, and I suppose that relates to the processor and the floppy drive and all the other bits and bobs that tend to be around it, the keyboard interface. So it does feel more PC than a real normal games console. But by God, do they? Why use one screw when you can use 50? I've never seen quite so many screws on a games console. As you can see, that bracket in front, it's like, why do we need that many? They really didn't want this coming to bits. So I'm just going to sit back and let me get these case screws out, because it did take me quite a while actually. I've never had one of these apart before, so I basically undid everything I could see. To be fair, it's like I say, it's quite logical. There's always one hidden screw and there's one underneath the floppy drive. And a few others there, so a couple more seconds and we'll have that off. Here we go. Right, there's the main board, and this is that really weird add-on little board. From what I've read, it is something that was done in factory. For God knows why. If anybody could enlighten me as to what went wrong for the need for this board to be introduced. Big coin cell there. You know, it's quite a long... it's well done. Whoever did it was very adept at soldering, and it's lasted the test of time. Yeah, quite a number of chips there. I think this one down here is a Yamaha, so I assume that's probably some sort of sound chip. That's your interface for your CD drive. So not quite sure what that's for. I would be quite interested to know. I might Google those chips at some point, I think, if nobody can answer it for me. So it's nice and clean. I might change that coin cell at some point. But this is the main event. This is why we're here. And this is the ODE replacement. So really hard to get hold of. The way the builder, the seller, has decided to how he's decided to sell it has made life very difficult for a lot of people. If you know, I've missed the boat probably 15-16 times of trying to buy one of these. You know, really frustrating. I'd quite happily sit in a waiting list and pay up front, but this guy doesn't do it like that. So, like micro SD into an adapter. I'm using a 512GB SD card because there are quite a lot of games available for this, and they're all CDs, so you know, that soon adds up. So I'll put it back together just enough so that I can do some testing. Get the audio video lead back in and the power. Obviously being careful because it's not got a brick or anything external. You've got mains voltage coming in, so you just got to be a little bit wary of what you're doing. Pop that power switch in and see what's going on. At this point I ran into a few problems. Kept getting this error message, couldn't understand what was going on. So I checked the format the SD card's FAT32. So I remade the almanac file, which is like the menu, updated the firmware on the Doc Brown, and it all started working fine. As you can see, the menu now, the almanac as it's called, comes up and you can select the games direct from the menu rather than having to use the button on the ODE itself. Game selection's nice and easy. You just have these pages, nothing fancy. You click on the game you want to play and then the Marty restarts and goes straight into the game. So we're going to play this Bomberman variant. This particular one's Panic Bomber, released in 1994. It's basically a puzzle game, published by Hudson Soft. Came out on the PC Engine and the Super CD-ROM and that sort of stuff. So released around the same sort of time as the FM Towns. Released slightly earlier on the Neo Geo and a few other systems. It was re-released a bit later on actually on the Wii and the U. Panic Bomber is a falling sort of block game, a bit like Tetris, that sort of thing. And the aim of the game is basically to clear the matching box as they come down, and then obviously you have the bombs as well to ensure, you know, the screen doesn't fill up with stuff. Once the screen's full, it's game over basically. I don't think this next one really needs much of an introduction, if you're anything into games at all. Monkey Island's a point and click game. This is the second one, LeChuck's Revenge. Really good game. I do prefer it when they did the voiceover, just because I'm lazy and I can't be asked to read. Really lovely game, well written, great humour. It's nice faithful reproduction on the FM Towns. I like it just the same as a PC or anything else, because I think basically that's what it is. So really just wanted to add that one just to show it working. The ODE is now working and great, so I'm really pleased I've now got an ODE and I can try some of the games that I never got to try years and years ago. So it fits lovely, it works great, so really pleased. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again in the next video. Bye for now.